Hey there, I'm Sarah Zarella, a portrait and wedding photographer and your host for Wedding Secrets Unveiled. This is a podcast where we cut through the complexity of wedding planning, leaving you with everything you need to know directly from the industry experts. If you want to simplify your wedding planning while having fun, of course, you came to the right place. Join me while I guide you through your planning, starting from your engagement to your big day when you say, I do. After photographing for over 20 years, I am sharing with you tips and tricks to cut through the excess noise. Because I believe from the moment you said yes, your planning experience should be a magical time in your life. Here you'll find episodes that are fun, stress-free, and straight to the point with a fresh, honest take on the reality of what you really need to know about planning your perfect day. Let's dive in. All right, well, welcome back, podcast friends. I'm your host, Sarah Zarella, and just a quick reminder, you can catch us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Sarah Zarella Photography, and Zarella is 2 R's and 2 L's. But I want to let you all know about today's guest. She is a longtime friend client of mine. I think we've known each other. Actually, she told me when we were recording 11 years. So her name is Isa, and she is the proud owner of Isa Exoris. And we're really going to start talking to you today about floral design, right? We're going to talk to you about a lot to do with budget. We're really going to be honest with you about what the reality is of floral design and budget. We're also going to talk to you a little bit about trends and where floral industry is going. And then we're going to talk to you about florals and seasonal florals that are in season, and then how that can affect your budget. So if you are in the planning process of floral design right now and in your planning of your journey of your wedding, this definitely would be the podcast episode for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with my friend Isa. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. I'm your host, Sarah Zarella, and today I am joined with a very special guest, to me at least. We have a long journey of, it's been I've been your photographer for many years.
Oh, yeah. 11 now, since Portia was born.
Yes. Oh my, has it really been 11?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what I'm excited about is to let everybody know your new venture and what I just photographed for you, your branding images.
Yes.
So this is something fun and something new that you're doing. And so I've seen a lot of your work too, and it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
So for our listeners, tell them who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
I'm Isa Exoris, and I do floral design for couples that are getting married.
Yes. And so how did you get into it?
Well, I started out with the farm. I was looking for something to do because I was so unhappy with my job. And I knew I wanted to do something with flowers. And one day I got home and I was messing with my yard, and I walk in the house and I asked my husband to say, you know what, if I could just do that. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, wow, really? So I quit my job and I learned everything I could about flowers, and I got a piece of land and I started growing them. And then it was really, really exciting,
Yeah. And so for a lot of people who are listening, not every florist has a farm, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Well, the farm, it was something I wanted to step away from a little bit now, because I feel like I'm better served focusing design, and I would have that place always because it has a special place in my heart, but it's more like for my own work. So I'm not growing commercially anymore. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
What made you, just out of curiosity, what made you want to step away from that? And is it because you wanted to start creating more, or was there something that you were realizing that, because obviously your journey started with just a passion.
Yeah.
So I was just curious of what made you want to step away from the farm and go more into the actual design end.
Well, I had a beautiful bride coming up to me when I was doing farmers markets, and she asked me for me to do her wedding. And then I'm like, oh yeah, sure. It wasn't in the plan, but I got curious and excited about it. And when I met with her, she said, oh, it's a small wedding. It's a backyard wedding. Well, I mean, not small, a lot of people, but a backyard wedding, very low key. And I say, yeah, sure, I can do that. And then she got a wedding planner, which changed everything. I mean, she did an amazing job, but it was so complicated and there was so many different parts of it where I didn't know about. And then, but I did a good job. Yeah, the wedding was beautiful. I mean, the backyard was beautiful home on a cape overlooking the water. It was a lot more than I thought that would be, but I did a good job. And the mother was teary-eyed when she saw it. And, it got me excited. But then I wasn't sure what I was going to go until I went to Virginia and for a convention with Holly Chapel. She brought artists from all over, and we actually camped at the farm. It was so much
Oh,
fun.
that's fun.
Yeah, yeah. And I really wanted to see her farm. So I met so many great people there where it just sparkled like the desire for design.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do that.
And
So,
one thing that I remember when we were doing your branding session is that you were telling me about how you've gone overseas and
yeah,
you've trained there.
yeah,
And so you've really been just digesting so much into
yeah.
this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I decided to get some training when I got back. I say, well, I really want to do this, but I need to get some training. So I did a research and end up in Madrid with Madrid Flower School. Sylvia does such a good job, like bringing all these designers together. Where she teaches all different kinds of styles, like from traditional to avant-garde, and then focus on creativity. Really, that's what I like.
Yeah.
So that was really something to be there.
It's interesting when because like everybody has a reason of how they evolve in their career. And like you said, like you started in the farm because it was just your love for flowers. And then you went to a farmer's market and then you met a woman and she was like, can you do my wedding? And then you do the wedding and you're like, oh, I need to like figure out my style. And then you start
Yeah.
developing your style and you did all this training. And that kind of leads me to my next question is what is your style?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I'm attached to a certain style. I think that because of my background in painting, which it was just a hobby, it was nothing like, I approached the design sort of like kind of the same way, where I love playing with the different shades of colors and shapes and textures. So I think that I would say if I could summarize, it would be like more like a botanical garden style.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I do love the ikebana. That's a big part of my work too. I love the simplicity of it.
I mean, obviously, for when we did your branding session, which for our listeners, you can go to our show notes and you can see Isa's work. And I'll probably stick some pictures of our branding session up there because you just look so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, thank
But I
you.
mean, obviously, for our branding session, I would assume because that was coming from your heart and you were able to do what you wanted to do, the style of florals that we photographed that day were very it was very colorful, but it was colorful in a way that it wasn't overly bold. It was bringing a lot of traditional colors in, but using them in that palette in a different way, and I just loved it. And I would say I described that particular style that day that you created was very botanical, very garden, and so. But like you
And
said,
romantic too, I think. It
yeah,
was very
yeah.
romantic. I'm not like big in romance. Like,
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And then, so, I mean, like you said, though, I mean, you can develop any style, and that's what's probably going to keep your love going because you can create someone's and execute someone's style,
yeah.
right?
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
but I am curious about a little bit about yes, you can create and execute style, right? But what is some trends that really get you excited? Like, what are something that you're gravitating to in the floral industry right now?
Oh my God, there's so many trends that I'm excited about. I mean, the free flowing style, where it's like mimicking nature.
Mm.
Um, what else? The incorporation of fruits and veggies
That
with,
is a trend I'm seeing.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's really something. I love that. It makes the tablescape so much more romantic, I think.
I do have a question though, and I might be putting you on the spot. I was told years ago by a florist that was walking into a wedding, and she was delivering the bouquets. And she said something very quickly, and I was like, sparked my interest. She goes, keep their florals away from fruits that are on the table. And I was like, huh? And then I quickly went on Google, and sure enough, it's right. Like, if you want to keep your flowers fresh and whatnot, keep them away from fruits. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting, because now with design,
Yeah.
we're designing with
Yeah.
fruits.
Well, I mean, like, I think it is true. And then you can't put flowers on your fridge because of bacteria and whatnot. But I mean, when it comes to a wedding or an event, they don't really need to last
No.
that long,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So it's not like it's going to damage the flowers within hours. It
Right.
takes a good day. So
Yeah.
I guess it's
just funny
it's
because
really-
I was like, oh, that's a good little nugget she gave. So like obviously if you have floral arrangements and you want them to last for a longer time, keep them away from fruit. So if you it's just little here's a little secret for you all. If you have florals and you want to keep them lasting, put them on your tables and countertops, keep them away from fruits. But obviously if it's your wedding day, like you don't need it to last.
No, it really, you don't. It's just,
But you're seeing
know.
the trend right now to like be a little bit more organic with the
Yeah,
florals.
yeah. And sustainability too. I think like more and more designers are gravitating to that, where the mechanics that they use and, try to be a little more less wasteful in the industry.
I like that was an interesting thing that you just said, a little bit more less wasteful, because I think that probably evolved in the COVID years because obviously production was down, and crops were down. So obviously we all had to be a little bit more resourceful. So like you said, it's interesting how that evolved with design, because now in design you're finding people be less wasteful, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And more like conscious about like, the environment in general, you know.
So we talked a little bit about trends that you're seeing, right? And we talked a little bit about how you got in the industry, but I would love to know a little bit more about like seasons, because I am sure people come to you with this inspiration and they say, okay, Isa, I want you to create this. And you're probably looking at some of the flowers and some of them are not in season, which I'm sure affects budget, which what we'll do is we'll talk about budget after the break. We'll get into
Okay.
that for our listeners. So if you're thinking about budget and money signs, stay tuned because we're going to talk about that after our break. But before our break, talk to me about seasons. How does that affect design?
It's so funny that you ask me that because in general, I know everything, not everything, but like a lot about flowers and when they bloom and whatnot because of the farm. And I tend to think that everybody knows that too, and it's not true. So it's really important to get educated as far as
Like as far as like the seasons go.
yeah, as far as the season goes, because if you don't like, there are flowers that you can't have access to, and if you do, like, and some of them they are not in bloom, they shipped, they bring a week in a box, and then the quality is affected, and I mean the quality of the blooms that are in season, it's so much better. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
just
so I'm
the
assuming that if you are importing flowers that are not in season or not in the region,
yeah.
right, your price tag goes up.
Oh, absolutely,
And then you also
absolutely.
said a little something different too. Like it's not just price tag, it's like the quality of the
The
flowers, right?
quality. Yeah, the
Yeah.
quality is really affected. I mean, like, and then you disappoint the bride
Yeah.
because she really wants that flower, and then all of a sudden, like, you get it in where you gonna get it, resource it. I mean,
Yeah, so I mean, maybe a little bit about for our listeners is if you're looking at florals and you're looking at inspiration. I mean, obviously your florist probably will educate you, be like, "Oh, that's not in season, but we can replace it with this." So, A, be open minded about
yeah,
replacement of florals to get the same look, but also too, if you're really set on something, you have to figure out the season that
yeah, and then
peonies, for example. I mean, we
yeah,
all know peonies are spring.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, we
So
don't all know that, but
yeah,
it is spring.
yeah.
And so, if you really want peonies in your florals, you got to get married in the springtime.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that because it's like either you pick like the flowers that are in season, or you pick, if you attach to a flower, just pick the date, right?
And like all joking aside, we don't expect people to rearrange their day around florals, but there is something to be said about it does because it's a vibe. So if
Yeah.
you are somebody who's vibing with peonies, well, then you're vibing with spring.
Yeah.
You're vibing with those
Yeah.
colors, that
Yeah.
feeling. So like you should do a spring wedding,
Yeah.
you know, or if
Yeah.
you're vibing with, tell me if a flower that is in the winter, like just like a,
If you're getting married in the winter, it's so difficult. I mean, everything has to be imported at that point
there you go.
around here. You know,
So
either from California or
well, then that means if you're getting married in the winter, some people get married in the winter over here, A, because they love the season, or B, they think they're going to be getting discounts, but not
yeah.
in florals because it's
No.
all imported.
No.
See, so that's what
Exactly.
I mean by like, you have to start thinking about, I guess, like we're unveiling a little bit of the secrets behind the scenes. So like if you are a winter bride,
Yeah.
you might be paying more for florals than you would
Exactly.
be for a summer bride.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
so maybe what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, let's talk a little bit about budget
Yeah.
and kind of tips
Yeah.
and tricks, and we'll dive into that.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you like what you're hearing, I encourage you to check out our website at xiarhosfloral.com. And don't forget, you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate if you left a fabulous review on Apple Podcast. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support. And now, let's get back to the episode. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. So I'm here with Isa, and before the break, we were talking a little bit about like how you got into the industry,
Yeah.
right? And a little bit about the actual flowers and
Yeah.
season. And then I didn't even know this, but talking about florals and season, that started to lead us down a path of budget.
Oh God, such a
Dun, dun,
complicated.
Well, listen, this is a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And we want our listeners to have the benefit of the reality. That's
Yeah.
the whole reason why
Yeah.
we're doing this. So, for our listeners, disclaimer:
Mm.
this is Isa's thoughts and honest about budget, and we're just going to be honest with you all.
Yeah. Well, it's such a complicated puzzle because one, I don't think people realize how much flowers cost in general.
I don't think they
mean,
do.
I
I know
know
I don't. So I'm curious about what
Yeah.
you're about to say.
Even in a wholesale level, especially if you're trying to source locally. I mean, the flowers that are grown here cost so much more than the ones that are grown in Ecuador. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, really something that people just don't understand, and the work that goes into it, like a big event. I mean, it's so much work behind the scenes where we working months in communication and design and sourcing flowers and the day of the wedding, late nights. I mean, you gotta love it.
You have to
I
love it. And
remember-
the other thing is too is like in reality, right? There is yes, you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna be planning with everybody,
Yeah.
but the execution of the florals, I
Yeah.
mean, they're living items. So
Yeah.
you can't create this months in advance.
No,
And the
no.
execution's happening
Yeah.
within real time.
Yeah.
So, and I think you're right. I don't think people understand the price of florals because I got to be honest with you, I don't either. And so during the break, we were talking a little bit about budget and cost. And you said to me, you said, Sarah, should I say a number? And I said, yeah, because one of the reasons why I said say a number is I was curious. And when you said it, even me, who's been in this industry for 25 years, I was like, huh, I didn't even know. So
Yeah.
say a number.
Okay, I'll say a number.
Say a number.
I think that if it's a 200 people wedding, which, with nothing too extravagant, we're talking about not a low key, but like somewhere in the middle, I'd say you can expect to spend $10,000 to $15,000 in flowers. I think that's realistic. In depends who you're working with too, because some people are more expensive than that, I think.
I have heard that number a
Yeah.
lot. And and honestly, I hear it the same way you said during break. I hear a lot of florists say, people don't understand. People don't understand. It's this much. And when I say I hear this with florists most of the time, there must be this interesting, I don't want to say trend's the wrong word, but there must be this interesting misunderstanding
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
industry about how much things cost, because yes, someone might be spending that, but there's hard costs behind that, like you
Oh
said.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I don't know. I guess my point is I hear a lot of people in your industry saying that they're struggling with the education process of how much it costs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People get shocked when you tell them, and a lot of the brides. I mean, we always ask like for a budget, like what they want to work with, but the things that they want is just not matching with that budget. You know what I
And you
mean?
could be
Like,
honest with them too, and you could start telling them. I mean, think about it, right? Like just for the listeners in general, like you're like, all right, I'm going to do this myself, and then all of a sudden, by the time you're done buying the flowers, or even if people want to do silk flowers, the silks are more than the real flowers sometimes, and then you got to create it. I mean, and remember, you're doing it in live time. Like you don't want to be creating anything the day of or the night before. I mean, it's just it's a hot mess.
yeah, it is. It is. I mean, who- it's crazy. I mean, to try to do that. I think, my opinion,
I think
because
it's crazy.
you wanted to be able to enjoy your
But I'm just
wedding.
saying, like in someone's brain, they have to get over that hurdle of like, oh, I'll do that. No, you're not. And so now you hire a florist, and now you're in that category already.
Yeah, yeah,
You're in that price point. And like you said, there's some people that are going to be a little less, and some people a little bit more. But like overall, if you're walking into like an 150 to 200 person wedding, you have to start thinking at least 10,000 to 15,000.
yeah, yeah. You do. Absolutely.
And then obviously, like we talked about before the break, you start adding in florals that are not in season.
Yeah,
That will
exactly,
start driving up
exactly.
the cost.
Or even like a big installation. Those installations has to be done on site. I mean, the
Yeah.
venue typically gives 2 hours to do it. You need people,
People. See,
work.
that's what I'm talking about. That's why, like, doing this podcast, and for you listeners, you have kind of an inside to Ease's brain, is that, like, right there, like, I'm with you guys listening to this. Like, I'm not a florist, so that this is all new to me, but, like, right there, you're right. You're doing an install. Well, you have 2 hours, but now you got to bring more bodies on
Yes,
property.
exactly.
So that's
And they're
more
not
money.
cheap because they are
Yes.
artists.
They're
They are
artists.
designers.
And an install is a really big wow effect. So of course you listeners want
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
wow effect, but that comes with a price tag.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, this might take us off subject, but tell me a little bit about some trends that you're seeing with installations or things that you've seen that you want to create. So like maybe one of these listeners out there will do it.
Yeah,
Right?
I know, right? I love the how can you say that? The different um size of pots, and it creates such a dramatic like impact on the ceremony itself. I mean, the arches are beautiful, but like I'm really leaned towards that,
They're
and
like
I
the
think
levels and like the
the
depth.
different
Yes.
levels and depths, and like where you create it's just so beautiful. I just love
I know what you're
that.
talking about. I just saw you post something on your social media channels, and I saw a lot of whites and greens
Yes,
and
yes, different shades of greens. Yeah, I
different
did
shades of
that.
greens and whites. And you're right. There was levels of pots, and it was pretty.
It was 7 pieces on that. Uh, seven
That's
pieces of
well, then
them.
that's dollar signs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That is. I had somebody say to me like, "Oh my God, what bride would pay for that?" I'm like,
Well, it was
"Well, you
beautiful. It was
find it. It's
beautiful.
gorgeous."
And not only was it gorgeous, so it's interesting. So you just talked about it with 7 pieces. So for me as a viewer, right, I looked at it as like, wow. Like I saw as a visual viewer, by the way, as a photographer, I was looking at it and like the florals and the couple stood out, and the photographer did a great job because but I saw floral, like what my brain went to is florals and the couple. And it was a wow effect, but like, okay, so here's the deal. It's 7 pieces. So that comes with a price tag. But what that couple just got is they got a wow effect for their guest. They got a wow effect for their imagery. It was beautiful. And the colors were, think about it, like it was only 2 tones, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
the
yeah.
actual installation was the wow effect.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I mix some greens and shades and texture, so that makes a difference too. But then like those flowers can be repurposed on
Well,
the.
that was my next question. Tell me a little bit about how someone can maximize their budget.
Yeah, yeah. So those ceremony pieces can be repurposed in so many different ways at the reception. So what we did at that wedding, we move everything to the sweetheart table. So if you look at that picture, I mean, she looks like a princess in a
Mm.
throne sitting there. It was so gorgeous. And then we had extra pots for the signs and, the sitting signs or whatever, or the welcoming table. So everything was like repurposed within minutes. With my team is so great. Like we're like little ninjas, like running,
I love that.
running back and forth.
So what are some other tips that you can let our listeners know about, maximizing their budget and their spending?
I think like focusing high impact areas, what's really important to you. Like a cocktail hour, for instance, is something that you only gonna spend, like your guests are gonna spend an hour there,
Yeah.
So you wanna do something simple if you want a budget. Or like I actually work with a friend of mine that it's a florist and recently, and what she did, I was like, why do you have empty vases on a cocktail hour? She was like, oh, and it was a beautiful wedding. It was gorgeous. The flowers are stunning. And she said the bride is repurposing the bridesmaids. I thought it was so
Yes.
genius because it's less wasteful,
Yes.
I just
So a
love
lot of
that.
times as a photographer, when you are all out at cocktail hour, we're what we call detailing the room. So we're in there in your reception area photographing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
room. And a lot of times there's certain tables that I can't photograph during that time because the ninjas, aka the florists, need to they're actively bringing your florals from your ceremony in.
yeah,
And so like what they're doing is they're taking those ceremonies that were like lining the aisle, like
yeah,
the ceremony flowers that were lining the aisle, and those are now going up for your high tops, your big floral arrangements on the top of the tables.
yes,
So,
yes,
if you have 7 rows, that's 14 floral arrangements that are
yeah,
now going to go on the tables.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah, I love
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot now for a couple questions before our wrap up question. One is if you could have like one flower for the rest of your life
Oh my God,
and that you work with, what is that?
I love that. Delphinium for sure.
Ooh.
I love that flower. It comes in so many different shades of colors and textures, and that's what people don't know because the plant itself is not just that plant. So they have different varieties of that plant that is so beautiful. They're gorgeous. And they bloom. They bloom for 6 weeks out of the season, which
Oh.
is huge. And then they rebloom again on the fall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fun fact.
Oh, I didn't know that. Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
How are they with budget wise?
They are high.
Okay. Champagne taste is
I know, I do, I do, I do.
fair, fair. Um, all right, you ready for the next one? I'm going to put you on the spot before I wrap up question.
Yeah.
What's your wedding hot take?
Oh my God. I don't even know if I should I say it.
Yes, that's the whole point of a hot take. All right, people.
I
Here it comes.
mean,
Do do
white
do do.
and
Putting you in the
blue.
spot.
White and blue flowers.
White and blue flowers.
Yeah.
Are
I just don't like them.
you don't like them?
No.
Fair.
I just don't. I know I get it. Like a lot of brides,
Yeah.
like the coastal like vibe.
Well, you
and then
are
it's
in Rhode
fun.
Island.
Yeah, I know. But I swear I'm not the only one. I talk to other people in the industries. It's like, oh my God, white and blue again.
So you heard it here, folks. Isa's hot take, white and blue. Hey, listen, it is.
Yeah.
It's your hot take.
Yeah, yeah.
There you
I
go.
guess it is.
All right. So for our wrap up question, can you tell our listeners a little bit about what are like 3 bullets or 3 questions that couples should be asking their floral companies to make sure that they are working and inquiring with a professional company to elevate their event?
I don't know if I should answer in questions as much as look at their work. Like I think that designers are becoming more and more particular with their style, and
I mean, it's a lot of time they're putting into it, so it makes sense.
yeah, and it has to match. It has
Mhm.
to match because you want someone that can see your vision and do what you really want, because we already talked about how expensive that is, right? And
Yeah.
then I mean, so I think that it's more like that than, certain questions that you ask, or I mean, if that makes sense.
No,
Does
it
that make
does. I
sense?
mean, basically, like you said, I mean, you are hiring a designer at
Yeah,
this point in time. I
yeah,
mean, if you're,
yeah.
especially if you're talking about installations and you're
Yes,
talking about,
yes, yes,
you know, using florals and colors and, you know, you're designing something. So you
yeah,
have to be going with the current, with your brain and your vision, if
yeah,
that makes sense,
yeah.
instead of going against it. So that's a great tip.
Yeah,
So just
and
look at their
then
work.
yeah, well, I mean, it's amazing too because it has to be a good match. When I had this bride, mother of the bride, calling me because of that wedding of the
Hmm.
7 pieces, she's like, my daughter absolutely loves your style, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Like it was exciting to me, and then looking at the pictures that she sent me after, I was like, I want to do this wedding. I really want to do it because it was everything that I absolutely
Oh,
love.
so you
So
gravitated to
yeah.
it.
And
Yeah.
then, so you want to work with someone that, that you relate to as far as the work and your style and then what you like.
Yeah. I mean, especially too, like you said, I mean, it's a lot of time. It's a big wow effect. It's a big part of your budget.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you want to work with a florist that, that you both are inspired to work together
Yes.
with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to work with brides that are inspired to my work. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And I think another thing is communication too. You have to have clear communication. So important.
Yeah.
So important.
So, I mean, how does somebody know if they're getting clear communication though? Like, remember, this is sometimes people's first time. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, how, when you say clear communication, like, does that mean if someone doesn't respond to you right away, you're not going to get clear communication?
Uh, I don't know if that's the case because I'm guilty at
Well, that's
like
what that, I mean, literally, I set you up for that question because I think in reality, I think people need to understand that when you are dealing with wedding professionals, response time does not mean that they are not going to have clear
absolutely,
communication. It
absolutely.
means that they are giving their 100% attention to the people that they are working with. But when they do respond to you,
Yes.
then it has to be
Yes.
clear
Yeah, it
communication.
has to be
And I
clear.
think let me backpedal for a second. When I say response times, like if somebody is taking a couple of weeks to get back to you, yeah, there's a problem
Yeah.
there. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about though in the wedding industry. I think there's like email etiquette, right? When you send an email, you should be responding in a couple of a couple of days.
Yes.
When you call
Yes.
somebody, it should be like 24 hours or something like that.
Yes.
There's those overall etiquette, but sometimes in the wedding industry, give some people a little bit grace. So like that 24 hours on the phone call should be 48 hours, or that email, it's okay if it's 3 days, especially
Yes.
if you're emailing on a Friday night. You probably won't hear back from those people until a Tuesday, till they dig themselves. Like obviously in the weekends, they're working events, and then they dig
Yes.
themselves out of their email trail on Monday, and then there's a Tuesday. Like I'm just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just the reality,
Yes.
right?
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
It is.
yeah.
I think that's fair enough to say because, when you're in the thick of it, like especially what you just said, I mean, like you working all week long, like with florals,
Hmm.
like it's just such a brutal, like I barely drink water. It's just crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then when you get out, like, and you're just like, okay, I need a day. You need a
yeah.
Sunday.
You need a day.
You need a day.
Just need a day.
Yeah.
I tell people that my Mondays are like everybody else's Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You
Just need
need
a
to
day.
just,
Just need a day. So what I'll do is I'll have Isa's information on our episode show notes. And don't forget to tell your friends and tune into our YouTube channel. So if you're listening, definitely go check out our YouTube channel so you can see Isa. There she is. So with that said, thank you so much for joining me on this week's
thank you.
episode
Thank you.
of
Yeah.
Wedding Secrets Unveiled.
It's so much fun.
Yay, I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you did
Thank you.
it.
Thank you. Yeah, me
Took
too,
her
me
out of
too.
her comfort zone.
Oh, absolutely.
But you helped all of our listeners become one step closer to their stress-free planning. Can you let all of our listeners know where they can find you?
I'm on Instagram at Xiarhos Floral and my website.
Yeah. Which you can
Dot-
check out her branding images.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then also too, for our listeners, I'll have Isa's information on our episode show notes, which you can find on our blog and our website page, which is at sarahzarella.com/podcast. And I would ask everybody to please rate and review this show. Even you, Isa,
Yeah,
please rate and
yeah,
review.
absolutely.
It's the best way to send us some love. Yeah. So
Perfect.
thank you, Isa.
Thank you. It was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Wedding Secrets Unveiled. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you something. I encourage you to check out our website at sarahzarella.com. We love photographing while having fun, of course. Check out our podcast page on our website for our show notes along with upcoming episodes with your local wedding experts. Listen in as we help you plan your epic event. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. I would so appreciate if you left a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support and let us know what you think. If you know any wedding experts that would like to be a guest, we have a link directly on our website where they can let us know. Thank you for listening.